All right, welcome to this week's episode. Today I have on Logan Cross, and today we are going to talk all about essential oils and how they help you deal with stress. And we are going to be talking specifically about Young Living oils, which I love, and yeah, just get into the nitty gritty of why they are so helpful and healing for our bodies and how to really use them to step into our power to heal and to de-stress. So Logan, I'd love if you could, welcome in with a little bit of a background about yourself so people can get to know you and share your story and your journey of how you got to using essential oils today.
Awesome. Yes. Hi. Thanks for having me. I have been using essential oils for a little bit over a year and a half now. I had honestly never really heard of them before I got started with them. I have a really good friend who is super into the oils, and she's just always sharing her transformational journey. And so I was really intrigued. And so I live in Aspen, Colorado. It's very seasonal, very winter driven. Like we have a harsh winter. So I saw how good they could be for you. Like I've seen them be supporting your immune system. I've seen them, obviously help with stress and depression and anxiety. And so I bought a kit from there, and I was just really impressed with the results as far as my immunity went. I've always been someone who got sick all the time. I would get the flu like several times a year, like even in the winter or even in the summer. I would get strep throat. I was always like so tired. The winters were really hard for me. I had definitely a lot of seasonal depression. And since I've started using Young Living essential oils, I have not gotten sick in over a year and a half, which is huge for me. I felt like that was really something special. So I've gotten my whole family on the oils as well. My mom suffers from a rare respiratory disease and also struggles with stress and anxiety. And she's just been diffusing the oils a lot and had huge transformational journey as well, especially with some of the oils really helping her calm her nervous system and really like be able to process. And she's the type of woman that like can't go up the stairs without getting winded. So to find something that like can help her catch her breath and just help her find some clarity was even more special for me than seeing my own transformation, was seeing them help other people, which I think is so special. So that's kind of been my journey so far with oils.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And so I have a background in massage therapy. So we use, like I used to be like blending machine with oils. And I'm curious for listeners, because I'm like, I know, but I'm going to ask because some of our listeners are going to be brand new to oils. What are the ways, some of the ways that you recommend applying oils? Like you said, your mom diffuses them. What are some other ways that people can like topically or orally take?
Yes.
Oil?
Yep. So you can diffuse it, like in a diffuser. You can also just put a couple drops in your hands and rub them together and take deep breaths. You can put it on topically. Some oils can be put on just straight. Others will need a carrier oil. And then you can ingest oils. However, I would use extreme caution when you're ingesting oils. Young Living has a Vitality line, so it is the only essential oil company on the market where they're actually approved by the FDA to be ingested. Young Living owns all of their own farms. They've been in business and practice for over 25 years. They have farms across the entire world. They do their own distillation. It just goes above and beyond organic, and they are also the only company that sees the product from start to finish. So that's really important if you're going to think about putting anything in your body. But ingesting oils is my favorite way to use them. The Thieves essential oil I put on my tongue like all day, every day. It just really helps boost your immune system. It's antiseptic, antibacterial. It's really great. Lavender in the water, lemon in the water, like there's so many different vitality oils that can actually help from the inside. But the most effective way to reap the benefits from essential oils is by inhalation. So by diluting it or in your hands. And what's so cool about an essential oil is that it works directly with your limbic system. So the limbic system is the part of your nervous system that deals with emotions and stimulations and memories. So essential oils, the molecular makeup of essential oil is so small that it can pass through the blood-brain barrier. So it can go places in your body that synthetic medicine cannot, which is super powerful. Your body can absorb it at a higher rate, and it also will work more quickly. So on average, within 26 seconds, an essential oil will be in your limbic system. Within 2 minutes, it will be found in your bloodstream. And then within 20 minutes, it will have impacted every cell in your body. So it's super fast acting. And I think, in my opinion, I just prefer it because it's a non-toxic solution to our more traditional synthetic medicines.
Absolutely. I just learned that. I just learned something from you because even in using it in massage therapy, it's like, oh yeah, it applies, but I didn't know the actual rate of it getting moved through your body. So that's really cool and really helpful for people who have been on synthetic things that oils could potentially help them to start getting off of med or different things that, whether it's for depression or different things that are just a lot friendlier to your liver and the rest of your body as well. So
Right,
really cool.
right. No, absolutely. It's, I think, always really astonishing how quick they work. I think I'm like constantly impressed. And even, my boyfriend, who's not completely sold on the oils, but anytime he's like not feeling well, he's like, don't you have an oil for this? And I'm like, yes, let me get it real quick. And then like, I'm over there like, how do you feel? How do you feel? And he's like almost like wants to prove me wrong, but he's like, no, I actually feel a lot better. But I'm like, yeah, see, they work. Look, yeah. They're good.
I love that. I love that. And so for today's episode specifically, we had talking about stress. And since stress is really the underlying factor of causing most chronic illnesses and different things outside of toxicity and, other things, inflammation, all the things. But stress tends to be like the big heavy hitter as far as it really having an effect on our bodies. So I know there's probably a bajillion oils and blends that you could choose from, but what would you say your top 3 oils or blends that you would recommend to people who are just feeling really stressed or overwhelmed, maybe a little bit anxious, and just oils that you are like your go-tos for stress?
Absolutely. So when you get stressed out or when you get anxious or something, it typically is a situation or a memory or an experience that triggers your like a response in your limbic system, right? So when that trigger occurs, your limbic system will send out like stress hormones to the rest of your body that actually causes your body to go into emergency action, right? So that's when you start sweating, your blood pressure increases, your breath gets quicker. So that is your body reacting and becoming stressed or anxious, right? So because of that, I like to lean towards oils that have, a calming, soothing, relaxing, oils, literally, they have hundreds of uses, each of them. But what's so cool about your body is that when you, once that oil hits your limbic system, your body knows exactly what to do with it. So for me, my favorites are any oil that's known to have, calming, soothing effects. But for me, the first one is Valor. So Valor is a Young Living blend. That has a lot of different essential oils in it. It's known as the Courage blend. So there is, you know, kind of a legend, like back in the day, the Romans used to bathe in the herbs and spices and oils that are found in Valor before they went off to battle. So Valor is just, I put it on before our interview, like it's just such a like moving, uplifting, courageous oil. It kind of pumps you up. So anytime I'm feeling stressed or just like anxious or like defeated, Valor is like the first oil that I grab. It's an incredible
I
oil.
love Valor. It smells delicious.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite blend out of
Yeah, no, it's
for
so
smells.
healing.
It's so
And
good.
it's just good for like so many different things. Like parents will put Valor on their kids like before they go off to school, like kids that, you know, suffer from anxiety in school, like parents will make them like a little Valor roller that they can roll on their wrist like while they're at school. And it has some amazing testimonials around grief and just it helps with your sleep. It's just a really good all around oil that I love. The next one will be Stress Away, which literally does exactly what it says, Stress Away. I have some friends that have had a lot of success with Stress Away. I have heard my friend, the way she described it was that just like when she was diffusing it, all of her brain fog went away and suddenly she could see like clearer. And I thought that was like so cool. I was like, I think that when you get stressed out or anxious, it's kind of like you black out and you're like, I don't know what's going on. And you're just like, your body's freaking out. So for that, to like that wave of like relief to come over your body, I think is really, really cool. So that was my second favorite. And then my third favorite, I just have to say frankincense. Like frankincense, another grounding oil that's just good for everything. It is just also just really soothing and helps you bring back down to earth. And it's just good for your skin. They use it in meditation a lot. So I think like for me, when I get stressed out, the first thing that I always do when I'm stressed is I just stop and I'm like, why are you stressed? And I put some frankincense on my hands and I breathe it in and I just sit there and meditate for a second about why I'm feeling this way and kind of just accept it. So I think those are my three favorites as
I
far
love
as
that.
stress oils.
Yeah. And I'm really happy that it wasn't just like lavender and chamomile, because I feel like those, it's like those are like the vanilla, like the basic, the ones that like go-tos that I think most people are aware of. So for people to have different oils that they can use, and I love that you chose frankincense as well, because it is really grounding. It's very earthy. And I know there's a lot of people out there that actually don't like lavender. Like it doesn't smell good to them. And so having these other options is really cool, because yeah, like I said, I feel like most people know about lavender and sometimes they don't like how it smells, or they just associate it with like everybody smells it all the time, or
I have lavender here, and I've actually had that same situation happen when people have come over that I'm introducing to oils, and they're like, I don't want to smell the lavender. I hate lavender. And you're like, no, just smell this one. And once they smell Young Living's lavender, it's like night and day, because lavender is, I would say, they call it the Swiss Army knife of oils, right? Like it fixes everything, it cures everything, you can use it for everything. So because of that, actually the demand for lavender is much higher than the actual production. So about 50% of the lavender on the market is synthetic. So most people actually hate the smell of lavender because they're smelling a synthetic lavender. It's not real. So it makes so much sense. It's like watching people smell like real lavender that's like 100% pure. It's kind of like, they're like, oh, this is what lavender is supposed to smell like. And you're like, yeah.
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I noticed too, when I used to pick oils a lot for my massage, when I was doing that as my career, and they have different kinds too, of like different types of lavender that all smell different. And so for those who don't love lavender, no, there's other options. And maybe to also give lavender another chance if you haven't smelled like the real deal kind of thing. So yeah. And then for people who tend to maybe think that, I feel like so many people in our world today live in stress. It's just like, it's glorified in that like mental to-do culture. And I really like to talk about why stress reduction is so important. And and I know you kind of talked about how to apply the oils for stress reduction, but what are some of your go-tos? Like you had said that when you use the oils for stress reduction, you put it in your hands, smell it, sit with like, what am I actually stressing about, and like, and accepting it. Do you have any other go-tos around what you like to do to handle stress, or just want to add anything more about why stress reduction is so important for health?
Sure. Yeah, I definitely think more people than ever are stressed out. And I think the first step is just accepting that you're stressed out, and like understanding that it can come in a lot of shapes and forms, right? Like, I think a lot of other people are like, oh, I'm not stressed out, but like it's showing in different aspects of their life.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think journaling is huge, or just some sort of way to release your emotions. And I think that can look different for everyone. Like, my boyfriend has a super high stress job, and you're not going to find him like in the corner journaling.
Yeah.
But like, there will be like mornings where I wake up and he will have like written a poem or like a song or something, or like just like a way to, you know, get it all out, I think is super important. I also think a lot of people are deficient in a lot of key vitamins that we need. So I think, just being super in tune with your body and drinking water, making sure you're, I've noticed that the B vitamins are most important when you're prone to stress, anxiety, depression. You're typically low in B vitamins. And then I did like a different, like, piggyback off my stress video last week. And it's just like what you can do when you've had a bad day, right? Move your body, exercise, have a dance party. I like to pour a glass of wine. Just stress reduction is so important, because you're not going to perform at your peak performance if you're stressed out. It's going to have really bad impact on your life. Like, it can ruin relationships. It can get like your career can just totally spiral. And then, like you were saying before, it can just have a huge impact on your actual like body, like chronic illnesses, like high cholesterol, heart failure. Heart failure is like the leading cause of death in the US, and it's a lot of it's stress reduced, like, so I think I'm a huge advocate for stress reduction, but I think it's easier said than done. It takes a huge commitment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think so people like, they just think that that's how things get done, right? Like, oh, if I'm going to like be successful or have the things happen, I need to be like on high alert all the time, basically in like survival mode or PTSD mode.
Yeah.
And over that time, it wears down our chemical pathways. So like, as those things are constantly firing, like in our adrenals and cortisol, it actually burns out it basically wears down our nervous system faster than if we're not in that place. And to your point, it's like, the more we can reduce the stress, the more we can just actually really just be in the process and the pleasure of our life. So it's like getting to look at, because I think a lot of people look at stress reduction as like something else they have to do. It's like another thing that their doctor or someone told them they need or should do, when really it's like getting to have support through the oils, through going for a run or moving your body, to take out that charge, to get that energy moving through your body. And I love the oils because people can use them in any of those scenarios. So they can put some on before they go running, they can diffuse some while they're journaling. I love to take some, and like when I'm in the shower, I'll just like drop some in the base. So like as my shower heats up, it like steams and I can smell it when I'm in there. Or you can make your own shampoo and like put oils in, there's like so many different ways you can use it. And And because there are so many different types of oils out there, and you kind of touched on, obviously, like Young Living is one of like the OG organic, the original gangsta of the of the oils. But I'd
Yeah.
love to know more on like why you chose them specifically, or if it was just, like, oh, my friends use it and that's what I was experienced too. Because I know like doTERRA, I think, is like kind of a spin-off kind of Young Living. But I'd really like to go into like why it's so important to know where your oils are coming from, because I think there is a lot of pesticides or like toxicity in oils
Mhm.
that aren't organic, and
Great.
because they're so easily absorbed in the body, how if over time you're using crap oils, that it can actually be more harmful to your system. So I'd love if you could touch on that a little bit more as well.
Yeah. My friend who's really into Young Living, I think how we all get introduced to oils is that we're already on a journey looking for non-toxic solutions. Like that was definitely why I think I was so open to it, because I was learning about, all the chemicals in like my skincare routine, and I was learning about what I was eating and like the meat industry in the US, and it's just like all these things that are so eye-opening. So when she learned like, okay, I want to incorporate essential oils, she just like hit the ground with like research. And I think and I think people don't view essential oils as something that they need to research. They're on the shelves at like TJ Maxx, right? So they're like, it doesn't process in their mind that no, this is like a plant that can be synthetic, it can be crappy fillers, it can be all these different things that are right in line with your food supply. So I don't know a lot about doTERRA. I know that Young Living has been around longer than doTERRA, and Young Living, owns their own farms and owns their own distilleries, so they can see the whole process through. And Young Living oils are meant to be, medicinal therapeutic grade essential oils, right? So in order for an oil to be therapeutic and medicinal, the distilling process, the harvesting process, it all is a science. It all has to be done at the exact right time of year, down to the right hour of the day. It needs to be distilled for the exact amount of time. And so a lot of essential oil companies will cut corners in these different areas because it's cheaper, right? It's going to be more expensive to do it in an all natural way that's actually the most beneficial for the client. And for example, I think it costs like Young Living to like harvest an entire acre. They hand weed it. They use like live cattle, like livestock. They hand pull it, all these things. It costs them, I think, like $7,000 to just harvest 1 acre, right? But then if you do it with pesticides and chemicals, it costs $70, right? You
Right.
can use machinery. So companies cut corners there. And then like the distilling process, for example, lavender, like we were talking about, lavender needs to be distilled for at least 1 hour to get all the medicinal therapeutic properties out of it. But companies that don't own their own distilleries or just go in and use other distilleries, they'll only distill it for like 15 minutes. So then you have an oil that it's literally all that's there is the smell, because it hasn't been distilled for the proper amount of time and it's not therapeutic. So then you have that, and then what happens from there is that they actually just disperse it into bottles, and then they fill it with crappy fillers. So in the essential oils industry is not regulated at all, right? So even to be USDA organic, only needs 5 to 10% of organic essential oils in there, and then the rest can be crappy fillers, it can be synthetic properties, and they are not obligated to put that on the bottle.
Hmm.
So those are kind of the different steps that kind of make an oil just completely harmful and not actually good. So it's super important to just question where it was coming from, how it was farmed, just like anything that we put in our body, right? Like our food
Absolutely.
or vegetables. So that was a little bit of a long route to
That
the
was perfect. Yeah, no, it was a great
answer,
answer.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
And and I learned this when I was in massage school, when I would go to make my own oils or blends or whatever. And the place, and when I lived in Seattle, I think it was called East West Bookshop or Zenith. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a supply store for, um, people that do massage and different healing modalities and stuff. But they had fragrance oils versus the therapeutic ones. And because like the fragrance are for like candles or different things that you're not going to be putting on your body, and the therapeutic ones were the ones that you can ingest, put on your body. And I would see people go, like, as I'm shopping around, go in and be like, oh, lavender, this is supposed to be really good for stress, and they'd start putting on the fragrance one. So it is really important to be mindful of, the whole point, right, of like, even with getting on natural, is to know what's going in your body. So knowing that they're fully organic is really powerful, because I didn't know that about the other ones only needing like 5 to 10% of it being organic. So this is such good information to know for people that are new to oils, or are interested in how they can start using it as a healing modality for themselves, to know, again, what you're putting in your body, because there's so much toxicity that we're already getting exposed to in our air and the water and food, and we don't want to be adding to it. We want to be supporting our body. So thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I love all of this, and I'm curious, I'm sure people are wanting to know, how can people work with you, find you, learn more about oils from you, or like get started with a starter kit? Because I know Young Living has some fun options for that as well. So I'd love for you to share how people can, find you and work with you and all the things.
Yeah, all the oils that we talked about are in the Young Living starter kit too. So it's a great deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Bossy Crossy, or on Facebook, Loving Life with Logan.
Love it. Love it. And those will be included in the description of this conversation as well. So if you didn't catch that, they'll be in the description below, so you can contact her and ask any questions or get started on any consultation that you might need for the oils. So thank you so much. I learned so much today about oils, and it was super fun to have you come on and to learn from you. Thank you, Logan.
So fun. Thanks, Nicole.
Of course.